So, what I decided to do is to do a couple of videos and tell stories of growing up in the 1970s. And the first story is at the end of 1970. I was a senior in high school, and so what to do for Christmas break. And I had a brother, and my oldest brother lived in Berkeley, California, and I decided to go visit him. And I was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I got my other brother who lived there in Dallas-Fort Worth area, talked into, and so he and I set off hitchhiking from Dallas-Fort Worth to San Francisco, Berkeley, California. So on the 26th of December, the day after Christmas, we headed out. My parents, of all people, drove us to the west side of Fort Worth and got on Interstate 20 and started hitchhiking. Don't remember anything really about the first ride that we got. But we finally, by late afternoon, we finally ended up in Midland, Texas. And the Texas Highway Patrol decided they needed to see what we were about, what we were up to. In those days, we would have said they were there to hassle us. So the Texas Highway Patrol decided they were going to hassle us. So they come over and he says he wants to look at my backpack. Well, my brother and I had these big, the backpack was like that, big external frame backpack from those days. And so I leaned forward to open the backpack. At the same time, the highway patrol guy, he leans forwards, and we knock heads together. Boom! And of course, to this day, Texas Highway Patrol, they wear cowboy hats. So I knock his cowboy hat off on the ground. He jumps back and puts his hand on his sidearm, and his eyes is big around like that, looking at me. And I go, "Oh, he didn't." Well, anyway, they finally decided that we're pretty harmless, and they went about their business. We finally got a ride, and the ride was in a VW microbus, a VW hippie bus, no doubt about it. So my brother gets in the passenger side. I open the side doors, and I sit down, and I take my boots off. Well, I had a brand new pair of Pavetta Italian-made mountaineering boots, beautiful boots on my feet. So I took them off, pitched them in the van, and got in. And we traveled with Mick for the rest of the end of the night, listening to Cream album and I don't remember what, a bunch of different albums, 8-track tapes. These were on 8-track. So we listened to that all night through the night, and ended up over in the deserts of New Mexico, maybe it was. And he got really tired, said, "I got to go to sleep." So we pull off the road, and he goes to sleep, and I just go wandering around. And finally the sun comes up, and we're out in the middle of the desert, and I had never been in the desert before, and I just thought I just was shocked. I couldn't believe how beautiful the desert was. So on we went, and we rode with Mick, and by now we're almost to California, and of course it's nighttime again. We've traveled all day across New Mexico, and he has a headlight out, so he's got to drive with his high beams on. And we're not in California all that long, and he gets pulled over by the highway patrol. And he says, "Well, I'll tell you, I won't give you a ticket," but he said, "I don't think you'll make it home without getting a ticket, but I'll let you go right this time." The other thing was, he was on probation. He wasn't supposed to be out of the state of California. I don't know how far he was able, legally he could wander, but in those days, all the stuff wasn't computerized. The check of things just didn't exist back then. So he made it on. Well, we tell him where we want to get let off, in the middle of Los Angeles, and we find these two freeways that cross over each other. We said, "That's where we want to go." He said, "Man, you can't go there. I can't, there's nothing there. I can't drop you off there." We go, yeah, it'll be okay. So he does drop us off there, and it was a big mistake. We sitting there, then we just, yeah, so we were going crazy. We finally just went down the side of the freeway, and we said, we'll start hitchhiking. Maybe we can get off of this thing, get a ride before we get caught. Well, no such luck. California Highway Patrol once again. And they get us, and they stop there, and they write us a ticket for hitchhiking on the freeway. So, but they put us in the car, we get in the car with them, and they drive down the road, and another, I don't know, 3 or 4 miles, the freeway ends, and it's no longer a freeway, and you can hitchhike. That's where they drop us off. And this is like, we're looking at probably 1 o'clock in the morning right now. So we look at our map, and we figure where we're at, we can just go north a couple of miles and get back to Interstate 10. We're in Ontario, and so in Ontario, California. So we hike, we go up there, and lo and behold, these 2 guys pull up in a VW Bug and offer to give us a ride. Well, we got these big packs, and we have to get in the back seat, and we got the pack, and we're like this in the back seat. My brother's there, we're both there, and they drive us. And the next place I remember being is down the street. We could see an emergency sign lit up. That's the LA County Hospital that we're looking at. The emergency room entrance is down the block there. And we hadn't been standing there for 15 minutes, and a car pulls up. The window on the passenger side rolls down. A big black woman sitting there. Black guy driving the car. He leans over, he says, "My wife is having a baby. Where's the hospital?" Yeah, here we are from Texas, and yeah, we're in the middle of LA. They're asking us for directions. So luckily we had seen the sign. We just pointed to it, and he took off down there. So I guess we spent the rest of the night into the morning, because the next place I remember, we're up around Forest Lawn Cemetery trying to find a entrance ramp to get on. And so evidently we got a ride there somewheres. And that takes us up to the it's the Grapevine. It's the freeway that goes over the mountains out of the Los Angeles basin there, and heads north. And we get a ride somewhere up there, and it's cold. There's snow about this high on the side that's been pushed up. We're at a truck stop or a restaurant or something. I don't remember exactly what, but we're up in the mountains there, going over there, and a guy offers us a ride. A guy in an El Camino offers us a ride. So we get in the back of this, and somewhere along the way, a young lady joins up with us. So there's the 3 of us in the back of this El Camino, and there's a wind chill factor, and we get anyway, and we're going there and said, "Man, this guy seems like he's driving pretty fast. I wonder how fast he's going." So I go and look in the back window there, and I can see over his shoulder. I see the speedometer, and he's doing over 90 miles an hour. And he's just hauling it up he's heading for San Francisco. So he gets us to San Francisco, or actually gets us to Oakland, and we get out there, and we go over to Berkeley, and get to my brother's house. And my brother's girlfriend, she sees this young lady that's with us, and she doesn't like the deal she's seeing, so she just raises a big stink, and that girl says, "I'll see y'all," and she leaves, and we never see her again. And that's the first half of the trip. Here we are. We made it to Berkeley, California in the winter over Christmas break from high school. Here we are. And that's the end of this first part of this story.